The Interceptor 650 turned out to be a game changer for Royal Enfield when it was introduced a couple of years ago. This new 650cc platform offered a price to performance ratio that was unmatched. And when it comes to the riding experience, this motorcycle was incredible. It's no wonder then that this motorcycle also managed to bag our Autocar Bike of the Year award. Today we have with us the Interceptor 650 in its BS6 form.
Visually, it is hard to tell the BS6 and BS4 Interceptors apart, and that's because Royal Enfield hasn't bothered with tweaking the design of the motorcycle. The color options are the same as well, and personally, I like this ravishing red paint scheme as well as the blacked out wheels.
Even after 2 years down the line, this Interceptor 650 managed to look as charming as ever. I think this design will age gracefully.
The company has not introduced any additional features, and I wish that the small digital readout offered more information. A clock, for example, would have been handy. Nevertheless, Royal Enfield has instead concentrated on bringing the parallel twin motor to conform to BS6 emission standards, and I'm glad to report that it hasn't lost any of that verve in the transition.
Even after being upgraded to BS6 spec, this engine continues to impress. I love its flexible nature, so when you're riding in the city, you could ride at steady speeds without any worries. And then when you want to go on the highway and you want to experience the rush, it has immense power on offer. And I think that's why this engine puts a big smile on your face.
Speaking of power, it is a happy surprise when Royal Enfield released the spec sheet of the BS6 engine. This motor has lost only 0.2 horsepower in the process of meeting cleaner emissions, which doesn't have a major effect on performance in the real world. In fact, our VBox numbers reveal that the BS6 Interceptor is tad quicker than the BS4 motorcycle in the 0 to 60 kph and 0 to 100 kph acceleration runs. Along with this, the BS6 update has made the engine slightly smoother sounding across the rev range and also deliver better fuel efficiency. Barring the BS6 engine, the rest of the motorcycle is the same with no changes to the cycle parts as well. It has the same cradle frame, telescopic fork, twin gas-charged shock absorbers, wire spoke wheels and Pirelli tires. And just like before, the Interceptor remains an entertainer when it comes to handling.
The Interceptor chassis offers crisp and clear feedback, and that gives you immense confidence to chuck this motorcycle in the corners.
The brakes are strong, and as you can see from our tests, the braking figures of the Interceptor are some of the best we've recorded at this price point. But as entertaining as the Interceptor may be, I wish Royal Enfield had made a few tweaks to the suspension in order for it to deal with poor road conditions in a better way than it currently does. Don't get me wrong, the ride quality is actually good enough for the most part, except for sharp bumps that cause the rear shocks to bottom out. That said, dialing in a little more preload should help tackle this little issue to some extent. Also, the narrow seat isn't supportive enough for long journeys, and you'll find yourself looking for a few breaks over a full day in the saddle. That aside, the BS6 Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 continues to offer a good price to performance ratio despite costing Rs 9,000 more than the BS4 model. The on-road price of this motorcycle starts at Rs 3.2 lakhs in Mumbai, and the price goes up slightly for special colors, which I think is worth the stretch.
In the end, the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 is one of those few motorcycles that manage to offer an involving riding experience. And it is for this reason alone that it is a motorcycle that you simply cannot overlook.